40. Was it Thursday, May 27th? I think it's been about 6 weeks since I've been out. We are headed to Santa Cruz Island. Been trying to get up there for about 5 years. The timing and weather just hasn't worked out. We're surrounded by small craft and gale warnings. So I think we've got a good shot to go up. We'll probably be getting a little wind on our nose, so probably be a lot of motor sailing up there. It's gonna be about 75 miles or so where we're headed. We're gonna try for Coches Prietos anchorage. Maybe full, but we'll go and we'll check it out. We should have enough daylight easily. We'll get there in the morning. If it's crowded, we can't get in there. If it doesn't look right, we'll head over to YellowBanks. Angel's Gate behind us, about 5 after 8. We're just right on schedule here. I'm seeing about 13.5 knots coming off the beam right now. Swells aren't too bad yet. It's like this all the way up, it won't be too bad. We're gonna start heading into the swells though pretty soon. We've got the main up, the new lazy cradle and lazy jacks. Pretty nice system, pretty stoked about that. And the new B&G Vulcan 12 chart plotter. Few upgrades since the last trip out. No boat traffic to speak of. Got Eddie, Melanie, and Capitana Katie up on the bow. The 9:20 p.m. update. We've been running a parallel course. We've been on the inside of the shipping lanes. We've got a northbound ship, the Coventry. It's, I don't know what it is, 780 feet, something like that. Pretty good sized ship. So we're now ducking under his stern, and we're gonna go ahead and cross the shipping lanes here. All right, it's 10 o'clock. Just recommissioning the water maker. I pickled it, put it in storage since it's been about 6 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks since I've been out on the boat. I made water. So I'm going back through the recommissioning right now. Then I think our plan is to probably gonna do a 2 on 2 off shift. A longer passage, we do longer shifts, but it's, you know, it's just an overnighter, and you know, I want to keep kind of tabs anyway, so allow some short naps. I think for me 3 hours is probably ideal if I'm not already a little bit tired, but I was already a little bit tired today. So we'll do 2 hours and then adjust from there. 7 o'clock. Got another couple of hours of sleep in, which is good. And we are right off of Capitana Island. And then straight ahead is Santa Cruz Island. I'd tell you how far away we were, but I have no clue. Got this nice new B&G Vulcan 12 chart plotter. It's pretty cool. It's got this mode for like super dark mode at night, so it doesn't ruin your night vision. You turn it way down. The only problem is when it brightens up like this, you can't figure out how the hell to turn the brightness back up because you can't see the screen. So I think it's on right now, actually. Fuck it. We got about 3 miles to go here to Santa Cruz Island. Stoked to finally made it here. Seemed like every time I planned to come up here, either something came up and I had to change plans, or the weather just turned to crap with the forecast. So it's been kind of a series of Bad luck just in terms of timing to get up here. It takes a little bit more of a commitment because you can't do it on a 2-day weekend. But we had a, you know, really what I'd say is an easy overnighter to get here for us. You know, the chop was pretty mild, and we didn't have a lot of wind. At times the wind was favorable for us. We started out with a little bit of a bash into the wind, but I mean, it's pretty light. So we're in this this pocket here where there wasn't much wind, in spite of the fact that it was small craft advisories and gale warnings just west of here. All right, so one thing I'm really stoked about is this new UK lazy cradle. So this the canvas cover I had for the mainsail was too small. It really couldn't get everything clipped around the boom because it was too damn small, and it was really a pain in the ass, especially for one person. So if the old one was cut right, that would have been fine, but I had just a traditional canvas with Dutchman flaking, these little lines that kind of go through the sail. And what we did was we bought a UK lazy cradle, so it's kind of leave it on all the time, and then there's like a PVC tube batten that kind of keeps the shape, and then lazy jacks which go up the mast. So when you drop the main just kind of drops into this pocket, and then you can pull a line for a zipper and you can zip it shut. So it's super easy. It's great for single handing. Now, I don't know if you look closely at the mainsail track on the mast. There's like some extruded nylon that the mast slides go into. So that's a Tides Marine. They used to call it a strong track. I think they call it a track and slide system. That's really awesome because it takes almost all the friction compared to slugs. There's very little friction. It's easier to hoist the heavy main, but then dropping the main, the main just sinks like a rock, which is just what you want to get the sail into the lazy cradle. I should add the smartest decision I've made for a while was to hoist and lower the main with the lazy cradle and try it out at the dock with daylight hours. The halyard has to be around and pulled through these lazy jacks, which I failed to do when I hooked it up, and then I also had the halyard. There was a wrap around the new topping lift. It's a Spectra topping lift I had put on. So one of those things that it was like a lot easier to do during the day to get familiar with it. You know, now I know what to look for in the dark. So so that's cool. Coming on YellowBanks, got a pretty good view of it now. And there really isn't much to do here to land. I don't think there's any trail access. I think there is at Smugglers. You can see the waves, little bit of surge there breaking, so it might be a little treacherous. As I've heard, for landing dinghies, I don't think there's too much to do when you get there anyways. We've got a couple of boats in the anchorage. Get a good view of Smugglers Cove on the other side of YellowBanks here. It's olive tree groves, pretty easily visible. There's a little bit of a point that comes out separating the two. Drop it. Sweet. Where's the main? The main's gone. That's magic. Alright, go ahead and drop her.
I can see the 3 bands.
A little after 2 p.m. Friday. YellowBanks over here. Smugglers over here. You can see the olive grove. Pretty easy to see from quite a distance. What's the review of the local swimming conditions?
Fucking cold.
Alright, we scoped dinghy landing earlier and it was no go. There's landing the dinghy and then there's launching the dinghy, and it's breaking there. So our neighbors here in this other boat told us mornings are usually better. All right, just a hair past cruiser's midnight, about 20 after 9. And it's blowing about just a little under 20 knots. Saturday morning, about 9:15. Super chill out. I don't think we saw over 22 knots or so yesterday, so really wasn't bad at all. We're pretty well protected. Less swells, so it's really flattened out here. Pretty calm. So we felt super secure. We didn't drag or move. I think everybody's single hook. So everybody's shifted a little bit with the tides and things like that. We think a little bit afternoon, the winds will pick up again similar to yesterday. So we'll probably see 25 knots later today, but it'll die down, start dying down a little bit after midnight tonight. So it's not going to be any big deal. We thought about going to Coches today since we didn't go when we came in. We decided to go ahead and just stay and hunker down. And then tomorrow, I think we've got some pretty big sailing plans. On the right of this boat, if you look carefully, there's Katie on her surfboard paddling, checking to see if she can make safe landfall there. It's a bit rocky and there's surf breaking. We talked about taking the dinghy there, so I'm just supervising from here while the more adventurous Katie scopes out the area and gives first-hand assessment. Shoreside, this is keeldragger.
Yeah, so it's landable by dinghy. You just gotta time it right. Over.
Yeah, it looked like you got a pretty smooth landing there, but then is it all rocks or what? Is it hard to kind of walk through that?
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend going the way that I went. There was a swell that came in right after I landed, and it would have thrown me against those rocks. And yeah, walking on the rocks was a little heart pounding. It's a sandy beach otherwise, so if you put on your wetsuit and you time it right, you can probably get in without getting wet. That being said, it might be easier to jump out in the surf and just walk, swim the dinghy ashore. Over.
What's the and then what do you think for launching? It's probably guaranteed to get wet. Over.
Yeah, you're gonna want a wetsuit on, and like there's like periods of almost a minute where it's completely flat. So if you're fast, you can just hop in and paddle fast, right? Over.
So you're basically saying I have no chance whatsoever. Over.
Negative. I'm saying just prepare to get wet, and I wouldn't bring the motor. Over.
Yeah, copy that. So what are your plans at this point?
I'm gonna go walk the beach here, check out the little cove, see if I see any wildlife, and then I'm gonna paddle out from the beach here where it's sandy. Over.
All right, I'm about 50-50. I might see if Eddie's stupid enough to go out with me. Over.
Roger that. I'll keep my handheld on. Shoreside standing by.
Cool. Keeldragger standing by. All right, here we go. Time for a stupid plan. We'll be back to report on this in a little bit, but our plan is to do a landing and get on the island in the surf. Woohoo! We're alive! We're alive! I'm wearing it. Wetsuits are for sissies. All right, we're on Santa Cruz Island successfully. We'll be in the piss departing. Shit, and the surf's even coming up more as we speak. We're gonna wind up in the piss on the way out, almost guaranteed, but we did make it successfully into the danger zone, or as we like to call it, the zone of unsafeness. Beautiful here though. Yeah. So it's nice, there's some sand here. When we go to launch, I think the tide's coming up a little bit. We may be walking on rocks to get in. And then it's all walking on rocks up here. Kind of slow going. These are the ribs of the famous Chinese junk, the Ning Po, which shipwrecked off of Catalina Island in Cat Harbor. Actually, just kidding, I have no idea what this is from. They look like, kind of like the ribs of a wooden boat. These bolts, this looks like this was a pretty good sized chunk of an old ship that broke up. Kind of cool. It's a little bit of a Santa Cruz history. The structure was built in 1889. All right, so we're getting ready to launch. Well aware of the kill to death ratio here is about 1 to 10. So expecting it's likely we're all going to wind up in the piss, but it's not going to be without a fervent effort, whatever fervent means. You gonna surf one in? Fuck me. Look at that.
We're ready to join the Coast Guard Search and Rescue.
That's right. All right, just for the official record, all 4 souls on board safe with a perfectly executed beach launch in the surf. No yelling, no cussing, not even raised voices, no excitement, super chill. All right, there was a little bit of excitement, but worked out pretty well. The surf's gotten a little bit bigger. It was really no big deal. 10 out of 10 would recommend again. Get an idea of how fast the current's moving here at the anchorage. It's kind of coming from the southeast. I was expecting it'd come different, opposite direction. 1 o'clock Saturday. And the wind started blowing a little bit. Still relatively light, but the air got colder and it took a pretty hard shift, so the wind's starting to come around and probably coming out of this way later. Right now it's coming out of this way. Just kind of watching here. The wind's likely going to settle in here for the evening till about 1 o'clock or so. It'll be blowing, but we were the first ones in the anchorage, and as we kind of look around a little bit, it's like if any of these guys break loose, most likely I think the wind will be coming out of here, so we'll probably be clear. So 16 of us total here, boats. Smugglers. We weren't the first to arrive, or I should say there were other boats that were here, and then they all left after we got here. So we staked out this spot where we're at. We're out a little bit further. The wind's no big deal. The most protected's in close. Only thing I worried about a little bit is whether or not some of these boats that anchored in front of us, if any one of them drag, it's not going to be a good situation. If we drift, we're headed to Anacap Island, probably, or somewhere in between.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see. Yeah.
So I got to ask, what's the highlight of the trip so far?
Oh, our expeditionary voyage to Smuggler's Gulch.
Smuggler's Gulch.
The beach landing.
Smuggler's Cove.
Successful beach excursion.
What's the low light so far?
Low light. Temperamental grill.
All right, I'll give you
That's
that.
our biggest problem. Yeah.